Well, I think every job is a new challenge, and you've got to go in with it, with a fresh outlook. But I think there are things that have served me well that I've learned from great leaders over the years. The first would be, you've got to surround yourself with a great team. You've got to have the best people on the team, and if you don't have the best people, it makes it very difficult. The second point is you've got to have a very clear strategy on what you are going to do with the business, where you are going. I think the third point is you have to be, really focused on the customer, because it's all about the customer. So you've got the team, you've got a strategy, you're focused on the customer. Then you've got to the fourth point, I think, is to enable the people in your business to understand where you're going. It's about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and that's what you've got to unleash in the business. And the fifth point is then you've got to have an absolute focus on execution. You have to execute what you've said you're going to do. Say what you're going to do and do what you're going to say. And I think those 5 points have been helpful to me on my journey. Because the world has changed, and when I started my career in retail, you looked down the road at the shop, the shop looked down the road, and you got an idea from that person, and that sort of migrated to just understanding the retail sector. But now you're having to travel further, so we would travel right across the world because you're trying to copy ideas. I call it shamelessly copying other people's ideas, because your ideas are it's good today and somebody's copied it tomorrow. And then I think you've got to look into other sectors for ideas, whether it's there's a lot going on in the in technology that we can copy into our sector. But I'm always looking for ideas. And yesterday, a guy came and presented a great idea, which was in the produce department, a bag that you can pull off. And when you pull, on the rollers for the produce bags, when you pull the bag out, it opens automatically. It just opens. I mean, it's a simple idea. So it doesn't matter where you are in life. You've always got to be looking for ideas in everything. It's evolving so quickly, and in retail, that's going to have a profound effect on our business, where people can instantaneously scan a product. See the provenance of the product, but also see the pricing of that product, against your competitor set. It's going to change the whole dynamics. So it means all the time we're going to have to go back to looking after the customer, meeting the customer's needs, because the customer really has the power today. If 10 years ago the power in retail was with the retailers and the suppliers, 10 years on, the power is absolutely with the customer today, and we have to recognise that. Always going to come back to the customer, because in many of these sectors it can be a zero-sum game. So I need to keep my customers, because if I don't, you may take my customers. So I've got to look after them, and you can never move off that. And it's so easy to get caught up in managing your costs so far down that you forget about the customer. Customer number one, you've got to manage your P&L. In tandem, but never take your eye off the customer. Build up some judgment, and judgment, you can't learn judgment. You get judgment through just years and years of being in difficult spots and seeing things differently. I would like to have more judgment today, but I certainly have more judgment today than I did 20 years ago. But I think actually there are things that I had then, 20 years ago, that I don't want to lose today. Because when you start your career, you are young and fresh, and in retail, when you're running a store, you are right by the customer. You are so close to that customer. And as you advance in your career, you have to make sure you don't get away from the customer. And so actually I see it the other way around. I look back and say, well, 20 years ago, how close was I? Am I that close today? And if I'm not, I've got to keep course correcting myself. So it can work both ways.